Oh, yeah! Oh, monologue! And that monologue hopefully will make people go, oh! Oh! Quantum leaped across different variations of myself. Anyway, I'm talking nonsense, and at the same time, it's believable. Believable for me. For you, it might be utter nonsense. We reach a zenith, an apotheosis together. We climax, we orgasm. Ah, a theatrical orgasm. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? 0 - 1. And it transitions from me seeing the audience through the fourth wall, basically classic stand-up. I'll have a microphone, I'll be speaking with them. I say classic stand-up in that that's how it's presented, but it's ultimately going to be still a piece of theatre, just performed as a stand-up comedy show, but ultimately it's going to be theatre because I'm not going to spend that much time in comedy clubs workshopping what I'm writing, which is what usually is done with stand-up. Here I'm just going to trust the 10 to 15 years of stand-up that I have done to create something that is strong enough without having had practiced it in comedy clubs. You know, ideally that's what you want, because you get the trials and tribulations of each performance, each gig, each audience that will tell you, you know, the results of the joke. You know, the wave of laughter is what generally gives you correct analysis. I don't know what I'm saying. But you know what I mean, basically. Punchline, laughter, right? And the more laughter, the better the punchline. Ultimately, that's what I'm saying. However, I'm not doing that because really, having left the country and then having had a pandemic and a psychotic breakdown, or a manic one, or whatever kind of breakdown, a breakthrough perhaps, I've lost all of my network, all the previous contacts that I had for comedy clubs in the UK. I've kind of lost all of that, because not only did I just get lost in the ether of space-time, but the landscape has changed, not only with the internet, but just post-pandemic. Comedy clubs had to revive themselves, and they did so using people that were more popular on social media. Understandably, you've got to run a business, you've got to do that. So I get it. And I deleted all of my social media, and I ended up changing my handle dozens of times as I rediscovered who I was. And maybe these were constant iterations, or I sort of quantum leaped across different variations of myself. Anyway, I'm talking nonsense, and at the same time it's believable for me. For you it might be utter nonsense, but for me, you know, a part of me does feel like I've just quantum leaped from one reality to another, and I'm still me, but the me that I was last year, was that me, or did I sort of travel through a version of me? You know, so as a me went up, I sort of went sideways, and I got a little bit of him, me, a little bit me, but that me. Does that make sense? Anyway, I didn't expect any of that to come out of right now. So I'm recording it because then it'll allow me to vomit all the nonsense and essentially keep all the best bits in the sick, in the bucket of sick that I will do with words. And I go, oh, that's a good word. Oh, look at it. Look at this string of words that I've used. Very nice. I'll keep that in the show. So that's what I'm doing. So there's already some rough ideas, and I've made some notes on a computer. This is a computer. I don't know when you're watching this, but you might be watching this so far in the future that computers aren't even a thing anymore. Like the mind has been hijacked by, you know, a parasite that is coinciding with nanobots, and so suddenly the parasites and nanobots are working together inside of your mind, and so you don't need a computer anymore because you're now a telepath, you know. Although I don't know how you're watching this, you still need a screen. So thank you, by the way. If you're watching this, it means you're on Patreon. So far, no one is coming to my Patreon, which is fine. It's like the field of dreams. If you build it, will they come? I don't know. Okay, so what happens at the end of Act 1 of the show is it crescendos to me losing my mind. You know, the moment that I basically woke up with no memories. That it crescendos to something that like blew my mind, and so I perform it to the audience. Hopefully what I do won't blow their mind. I mean, no, that's not true. I want to blow their minds, but not in a, you know, psychiatric hospital kind of way. I don't want them to go to the show and then go, that was so good. No, actually, no, I do want that. Wouldn't that be amazing? That my show is so powerful that everyone just ends up in the loony bin. That'd be amazing. Although word of mouth is the most powerful thing, and actually that would be amazing for word of mouth, but also not really good, because at the beginning people will be like, what, you lose your mind if you go to the show, we have to go see it. But after like 3-4 shows where literally the entire audience goes to a psychiatric hospital, the government would have to get involved. We have to stop this man performing the show, which isn't good for ticket sales. You want maybe one person to absolutely lose their mind. 2, 3, who knows, but just a few numbers of people to lose their mind, and then that will create a nice bit of word of mouth. That's good. So that's where I'm aiming. But anyway, hopefully that doesn't actually happen. I don't want to hurt anyone with the show. If anything, I want to heal them. So it ends with me losing my mind, and so there's a blackout. There's a literal blackout on stage, which means I get to restart the story from somewhere else. Now, I'm not actually starting it from day 0 or day 1, whatever one might call it, the moment where I just woke up and rediscovered myself. It took about 18 months for me to believe that I'm Eric, or for Eric to come back to me. That's better, because there was a moment where I was like, oh, there you are, as if I found Eric. So, what was I saying? Yes, so I'm actually going to start at a different point about a year later, which was during the pandemic. And the reason I want to do that is because the pandemic was already quite a surreal experience for all of us, which means that I'm sort of creating a bridge between my madness and the madness that, well, everyone experienced. And so in a way, there'll be like a degree of relatability between our experiences, because mine is quite ethereal. It's very difficult to explain to some people how I grieved not just my own death, but the death of everyone I ever knew. Right? That's what amnesia feels like, is I completely disappeared, and therefore all my memories and all my relationships. So a very surreal experience, because I now have memories of someone, me, this body. I have memories of this body, you know, experiencing itself without the identity of Eric, right? So very surreal for most people to understand, unless, you know, you've had a really good magic mushroom trip, you know, but like a really good one, not just like, oh, it was a really nice weekend with a friend. No, I'm talking like you woke up on another planet. Good. Ego death, you know, that kind of stuff. Spiritual awakening, man. Whatever branches of the experience that other people have had. So there's people out there, shamans and all of that, and lunatics that might be able to really relate to my story. But how do I bring back the boons from my experience, the elixir of my supernatural ordeal? How do I bring it back to the people? So that's what I'm trying to work out. And so setting it in the pandemic seems to be something logical. And so from the blackout, I'll play, basically for the first time in the entire show, I will be playing audio, right? A news broadcast about the pandemic, or maybe as we emerge out of the pandemic, wars began again, and death, and human death, not just this supernatural plague death, but humans just returned to their silly selves. They had the opportunity to be still for a moment and reconsider how they could work together, and they just went back to their old ways. It's funny that I'm the one that had amnesia, and yet they are more prone to forget that. What am I trying to say? Well, just before the pandemic, using, let's say, just the United States as an example, there were just constant mass shootings, school shootings, constant. And people were going, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, right? And some people were mocking that. And so let's look at that. Let's look at both of that, right? Thoughts and prayers, the idea that praying, that we extend beyond our skull, right? That seems illogical for a lot of people. And for others, it's like, yeah, like I am made of the universe, and so is outside of me. And so where do the barriers stop? Where does the self begin and end? And so, you can look within and you can look without, and ultimately you realize that you are the universe. And so can thoughts, can prayers extend beyond our skull? The bone is not out, made of, it's not a Faraday cage, right? So can it? Considering that we are made of 7 octillion atoms, and each atom is made of 99.9 recurring % space. We are essentially mostly space, which that blows my mind. And therefore we are vibrations, we are a frequency. That's what I think people mean by, like, we are energy. So it seems far-fetched when you can't even conceive of it as possible. But once you conceive of it as possible, firstly, reality does transform in very interesting ways. And I think that's what people mean by God, because suddenly it's like you are in cahoots with the cosmos. You are able to have a conversation with the universe. You're able to pray to God. That's basically what it is, if you believe that. And it's that whole thing of, if you will allow yourself to conceive of it as possible, as in, like, just humor me for a minute. If you just imagine that you can have a conversation with the universe, then it's like Child's Play, not the movie where a doll starts killing everyone, but more, if you allow imagination to permeate through your daily business, then I don't know, the world can seem kind of beautiful again and playful, much like it was, hopefully, when you were a child. I say hopefully because not every child has had an easy upbringing, playful, but for the most part, being a child, there's that wonder, there's that curiosity. And it seems like adults lose that, forget that, because of the daily grind of survival in a bureaucratic nightmare of a world. Must pay bills, must pay taxes, beep, bap, boop, fucking unbelievable. I mean, the entire earth is in debt. To who? Like, the UK is in debt to that country, and that country is in debt to that country. Everyone's in fucking debt. I'm in debt. I'm not even a country. I'm not even a country. But you know what I mean. It's like, it's just weird. The world is weird, and most people behave as if they're in some sort of rat race where quickly must earn money, money, you know. And it's like, yeah, obviously money's really good. Money, I think money's one of my favourite things. One of. It's not the most important thing, nor is it a way to gauge how much value a person has. Just because you have no money does not mean you do not have value. That is something that I've certainly had to tell myself a lot of times. But what am I saying? I might not even put this on Patreon. There's a part of me that goes, this is actually quite fun. I don't know, maybe some people on YouTube will actually quite like it. So let it be for YouTube. Okay, right. So what am I saying? Oh yes. So I will emerge from the void, from the blackout on stage, and begin this scene. And it's a scene that obviously complements everything that I've said so far on stage. It's like a snapshot of a day in my life during the pandemic when I felt fragmented. Certainly a duality, the yin and yang, the light and the shadow, you know, the as I've written here, like nihilism in God, like nothing matters, and yet somehow we must continue to live and find meaning in life, and this duality somehow exists paradoxically together, because I don't actually know if there is a God. I like the idea of engaging with reality as if there is one. So when, for example, something good happens, I immediately can just be grateful. Not that you can't be grateful if you're an atheist, of course you can, but there's something interesting about like me extending my hand, like, you know, Adam in the creation of Adam, the Michelangelo painting, and then something higher than myself, bigger, better, more beautiful, kinder, can extend its hand and goes, oh, it's not just luck, this is a gift. And then if something bad happens, instead of going, curse this, shit happens, you know, nothing matters, I can go, well, maybe there's an opportunity here for a lesson. That is exhausting, but it provides me with a better foundation as I move forward with this sudden collapse of things. If something bad happens, it's fucking annoying. But now the idea that, for example, this one life is, let's say, not a trial. We shouldn't see everything as a trial, but let's say for this metaphor, this allegory, I don't know what the word is, never mind. But if this life is a trial for the next life, then surely it would be more beneficial for me, not just for the next life, but for this life, and not just for me, but for others, if I engage with problems in there is a higher good here, there is a reason for it, even if that's not true, because ultimately I don't know. But the idea of an imaginary friend, if you like, is quite nice. It's certainly made my life more enjoyable. But putting that aside, you know what? This bit will go, this whole video so far can go on YouTube. Next, we're going on Patreon. Yes, all right. That sounds good. Yeah, the next bit I'm gonna do on Patreon. All right, that was fun. If you've watched this, hello. If you want to see the rest, go on fucking Patreon. All right. Crying, yes. Jizzing, I mean, yes, obviously, but he stays in your trousers or skirt or whatever you're wearing. Applause and money. Give me some of that money and word of mouth. That's ultimately what I want. So how do I get that? By creating something that crescendos where we reach a zenith, an apotheosis together. We climax, we orgasm. A theatrical orgasm. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? A nice theatrical orgasm.